right, good morning, fifth grade. I hope you guys are doing well today. Today is November 2nd, and it's a Monday. So I hope you are prepared to listen and you're ready for our lesson today. This lesson is for if you missed our lesson together or if you want to go back and review. Okay, so you can use these videos for doing either of those things. But today we're going to start with a number talk. Okay, so I want you to look at these base 10 blocks. Okay, you've probably seen them before. The large cube represents 1,000 units. The flat cube represents 100 units. The long cube represents 10 units. And then the small cube represents just 1 unit. Okay, so I want you to start off by looking at the long and compare it to the small cube. Okay, so look at the long and compare it to the small cube. The long is how many times as much as the small cube? Take a second and think about it. And then I will answer on the video. Okay, so the long is 10 times as much as the small cube. And we know that because there's just one of the small cube, and there are 10 units of the long cube. Okay, so the second question says, look at the flat and compare it to the long. The flat is how many times as much as the long? Okay, well, let's look at it. If we were to put this long on top of the flat, we could put it on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. So it is 10 times as much as the long, the flat is. Okay, last one. Look at the large cube and compare it to the flat. The large cube is blank times as much as the flat. All right, well, let's look. We've got one flat here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It's kind of hard to see those lines. So I'm going to erase it and we'll just look at the lines on the front. But know that we are counting a full flat when we do this. Okay, so let's try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? So it takes 10 of the flats to create a large cube. Okay? Go ahead and look at the pattern and try to be thinking about what the pattern could be when we move from small cube to long, long to flat, and flat to large cube. Okay, so be thinking about that. Now let's look at B. Look at the flat and compare it to the large cube. So we're going to look at the flat and compare it to the large cube right here. Okay? The flat is blank of the large cube. How much of the large cube is it? Okay? So this flat is one of how many pieces that goes into the large cube. We just talked about how many flats does it take to make a large cube. It takes 10 flats. Okay? If I just have one of the flats, I have 1/10 of how many I need to make a large cube. Okay? So it's 1/10. Look at the long and compare it to the flat. The long is blank of the flat. Okay, so same thing here. It takes 10 longs to create a flat. Okay, and we just have one of the 10 longs that are needed. So the long is 1/10 of the flat. All right, last one. Look at the small cube and compare it to the long. The small cube is blank of the long. Okay, and again, it is 1/10 because it takes 10 small cubes to create a long, and we just have one. All right, so now let's talk about the pattern. What pattern do you see here? Okay, so you might have said that as we go up, as we go this direction, it is 10 times. So as we move from small cube to long cube, long to flat, and flat to large cube, each time it goes up by 10. So each place value that we move increases by times 10, okay? It's multiplied by 10. What pattern do you see here? Well, this is the opposite way, opposite direction. So this time we're moving from the large cube to the flat to the long to the small cube, okay? Each place value decreases by 1/10. Okay. All right, so now that we have that, let's try to put that into a chart. Okay, so remember, I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. When we're talking about small cubes, we're talking about ones. Our longs are our tens. Flats are our 100s. Large cube is 1,000. And then we could keep going up, 10,000s, 100,000s, okay? So if I were to put them in ones, it would look like 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. Okay? But let's say that I have the number, well, actually, we'll keep that so that we know our places. Let's say that I have 3 ones. If I were to move up one place value using what we know, using the pattern that we created, so let me use a better color. Okay, so I've got 3. If I were to move up a place value, what would this value be? Use the pattern. Okay, so it would be 30. Okay, what if I were to move up another place value? So we're moving up one more. Would be 300. Keep going, 3,000. What's the next one? 30,000. And the last one? 300,000. Okay, so we increased by times 10 each time. Okay, but what if, cancel. What if I wanted to decrease. Uh-oh. So let's get rid of these real quick and put our line back up and talk about decreasing. Okay, so if I wanted to decrease, say that I have 700,000. And this time, instead of moving up, okay, instead of increasing, I want to decrease by a place value. So I'm going to move in this direction. 700,000. How can I move down a place value to the 10,000s place? Well, I'm going to say that this is just 1/10 of the 700,000. So it's going to be 70,000. Also realize what I'm doing with my zeros, okay? So pay attention to the zeros. We're going to move down one. Think about to yourself. 7,000. Next one is 700. Next one into the tens. 70. And the last one is 7. So look at my zeros, because that's a pattern as well. What's happening to my zeros when I move up? I'm adding 1 0 to the end each time. What about when I'm moving back? I'm taking away a 0 each time. Okay? So we're going to move on and read our I can statement for today. Okay, so here's our I can statement. I can identify various place value positions and recognize patterns. Okay, so I highlighted 2 keywords. If you have a paper in front of you, go ahead and write down these keywords: place value and patterns. Okay? Now, I want you to use this table to figure out how many is 10 times as much as the number that they gave, and how many is 1/10 of how many they gave. So first, let's highlight keywords, okay? I really like to highlight keywords because it helps me know what I'm looking at. So first, I'm going to highlight 10 times, okay? So times is my keyword. My key number, I'm going to circle my key number. My key number is 10. Okay? And again, I'm going to highlight my keyword over here. And we only have one, so we know it's of. Okay, and I'm going to circle my key number, which is 1/10. I'm going to move that a little bit so we can see the of. Okay, and so you might be thinking, Miss Stokes, why is that a key word? Why is that something that we need to highlight? Well, times and of are both keywords because they both mean multiply. Okay, so when you see of, okay, that's a keyword that lets us know that we're going to multiply, and times is a keyword that lets us know that we're going to multiply. Okay, so that's another way to think of this. Okay, so when we are talking about 10 times, we're moving up in place value, and when we're talking about 1/10 of, we're moving down in place value. Okay? But to move up in place value, what we're doing is we're saying we're going to use our number. So our number is 10. And to move up in place value, we're going to times it by 10. 10 times 10 is 100. Let's see. 100. So there we go. There's 100. And then, and actually I'm going to trying to get a color that's easier to see. So I'm not sure how easy that 100 is to see. 100. Okay, and then when I go down a place value, I'm also going to multiply my number. But this time, I'm going to multiply my number by 1/10. Okay, so let's see what happens to my number when I multiply it by 1/10. So you guys should have already learned multiplying fractions, but here's a review, okay, in case you forgot. We are going to set it up by putting the 10 over 1. Whenever we have a whole number, we need to put it over 1 because it is a full number by itself. Okay, and we're going to multiply it by 1/10. 10 times 1 is 10, and 1 times 10 is 10. Okay, and if we were to simplify that, okay, if we were to break it down, we could say 10 groups go into 10 how many times? How many times can we put 10 into 10? We can put it in one full time, right? Okay, so that lets me know, we'll do that in blue, that 1/10 of 10 is 1. Okay, so if we had that back in our hundreds and tens, okay, so here's our hundreds, here's our tens, here's our ones. We started off with the number 10. We moved up a place value to 100. And we moved down a place value to 1. Okay? So go ahead and try to do that with 70 and 9,000. Okay, so I'm going to just fill these in for you. Okay, 70, if we go up a place value, it becomes 700. If we go down a place value, it becomes 7. Look here, it gains a 0 and it loses a 0, right? So when we went up, we added a 0 to the end. When we went down, we took away the 0 from the end. Okay? And then the last one would become 90,000 and 900. And remember, we are multiplying this number by 10 and then multiplying it by 1/10, okay, to get these final numbers. Okay, last thing is I want to show you in a model as well. Okay, so we'll start with 200. Okay, I want to see, well, actually, let's get rid of these. Yeah, no, we'll start with 200. I want to know how many longs, okay, so this is a flat. I'm going to write that down. This is a flat. Each flat is 100. And then this is a long. Okay. A long. And each long is 10. My question to you is how many longs will it take to get 2 flats? How many longs is it going to take? Okay, so go ahead and think about it. Okay, try to move these around in your head, or you can draw a picture. Okay, so first I want you to start off by telling me how many, since there are 2 flats, what's my number? How many is in 2 flats? 200, right? 200 is the same thing as 2 flats. Okay, so now let's, forgot about that we're still on the drawing tool. Now, we're going to look at this together. So, let's move them. 1, 2, wrong way. 3, we're going to delete that. Hopefully. There we go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we've got a total of 10 flats, 10 longs equals 1 flat. And then we could do the same thing over here. We drag these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So we have a total of 20 longs, right? So 10 plus 10, 10 longs plus 10 longs equals 20 longs. So we're gonna, got 20 longs, which we now know is the same as 200. Okay, do we see that these let's exit out of that. Do we see that these longs, each of these longs, are smaller than the flat, and so it takes 20 longs to make 2 flats. Okay? And that shows us that a long is 1/10 of a flat. Okay, so a piece of a long is 1/10 of the flat, because I need 10 of these to make 1 flat. And I now know that I need 20 to make 2 flats. I need 20 to make 2 flats. Okay, so 2/20 is the same as 1/10. Okay, because we could break it down and make it a little smaller. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 2. And that equals 1/10. Okay, and we'll talk about this more later. Okay, so don't worry about that. But I do want you to see how 1/10, how it takes 10 long pieces to create a flat. Okay, so it's 1/10 of a flat. All right, and that's it for today. Great job, guys. I need you guys to complete the exit ticket for today. Okay, so make sure you do that. And I will see you guys in class on Wednesday. Bye, guys.